How are we doing, guys? So today I'm going to repack my Graco 390. So I've run it into the ground really, I should have done it before. It's starting to lose pressure, it's not holding it too well. So we're going to change all the bits. I've had all the washers and little bits soaking in the throat seal lube overnight. So I'm going to now show you how to strip it down and we'll just pop all the bits in. Hopefully my piston's fine, my piston rod. We'll see. I don't really know. I've not took it to bits yet, so I don't know what I'm in for. So it's probably going to be a bit dirty, but I thought it best to film it so you get an idea of what you're in for if you decide to strip it down further down the line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the suction pipe off first, keep that out of the way, just connect it to the frame, just anywhere. What you want to do is you want to take off this bottom nut. We'll try the hammer. There we go. So just hit that loose. The reason we're taking this off is because there's two little washers in there. So there's the two little washers there. Pop that to one side a minute. This is where the bottom ball sits with its seat and the metal washer. So don't lose them bits. In the pack we've got two new balls, so don't lose your seat. Don't know what else is in there because I've not undone it yet. I've just filled it with the lube. So I just got myself a little bucket just for some thinners in. Quickly give the little bits a clean before I set them to one side. So if we have a quick look inside, you can see how battered that white washer is in there. So that's got to come out. Got to get the metal washer out from then. If you've got a little nylon rod, something like that, anything that you can just knock and tap through. There's the bottom bit that goes under the seat, little washer. Just clean that off, that's covered on the sides, so that's what the ball bearing sits on at the bottom. Just disconnect that hose at the back. I've just loosened that. So just in there you've got a little retainer clip. If you can just see it, just up there, that needs popping out first before this whole section can come out. So that's the clip. It goes up there. It's a bit of a nightmare to get out, so what I did was flicked it the first rim down, and then once I got the first rim down, I got my nail in it like that, and then pulled the next one down with the screwdriver and it just popped down. So that can be a little fiddly, so just be a bit patient with that. It's too high up. What I've got is just a little Allen key bit and I've just put it in there just to force it down, just so I've got clearance to be able to pop that out, so I can actually get the pin out which will release the piston. And it's easier to get the clip off when the assembly is further down as well. So what I should have done before I stripped it down is actually look at the position of where the piston is, because you need to get the little piston rod out which holds the piston in. So then once that retainer clips out, you would just knock the little piston rod off, and then that just allows the whole thing to fall out pretty easily. So assembly out, there's the rod. So we're just going to get that out now. We're going to break down the fluid section. I'm going to take off this packing nut. Now if you can see, the washer's actually compressed upwards because it's tightened that much, so keep an eye on that when you're fastening it back up. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is just take that black connector off the top. What I've used is a little flathead just to prise that off. China! The packing nut was super tight, so what I've used is my little grips. Be careful not to damage it, just try to catch it in the holes and then just break it and undo it with your hands. Smooth that. So I don't have a vise, but what you would have done is pop that in a vise and just tap down on the top. Just go in. So the only reason I'm using wood is because I don't want to damage it by actually using metal to metal, and it's on solid, so, and I've not got a vise like I say. That is just super stuck. Do not do this at home. But yeah, because I've not got a device, I've got to try and force it out with the least damage possible. Right, so a couple more bangs and that's come out. That has seen some work. So there we go, it's finally out. Look at those. Do not damage the rod. Just inspect it to see if it's scratched, warped or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is the adjustable on the end to unscrew. If you don't have a vise, don't worry. If you get some L brackets and just screw like I've just done there. So what I've done is I've just fastened 2 L brackets to the bench, bent them over, just going to screw them in to just fasten it in.
You slipped.
And I've still got control of the adjust, but that is solid, not going anywhere. So the reason I've done that is because I don't have a vise and you need the power of 1,000 armies to unscrew that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that in there. Bear in mind there's a ball in there, so you don't want that to fly out. Get that in there, nice and snug. Ugh. And there we go, we've freed it. So that's a little workshop hack if you've not got a vise. Really handy thing, really, those little L brackets. And you would not be able to do that if you didn't have a vise or if you didn't do that. You know, it's just on there so firm. You would just struggle so much to unscrew it. So there we go. A little ball there. So again, pop that in my jar. Oops. Give that a nice old clean and then we'll start popping it back together. We'll get all these off as well. So we've just cleaned that up now. The old ones off. Take the packing bits off of the piston and they can be a bit of a nightmare on there. In the pack they come in sections, so each section has that particular amount of washers and so on. So because I'm doing the piston bit, I've got my little ball in there. Now I've soaked all these in the throat seal oil just because, and I've done it overnight. You can do it for just 10 minutes or so, but just saturating it just stops them cracking or splitting. So what I've got in here is the first one. You see that little lip? Catch it in the light, the lip goes up. And when you connect that, it should click like that. So that's on, put that to one side. And then in this same compartment, we've got all of those. Remember, they're going to be facing up. So what we're going to do is pop the beveled metal bit on the rod that way. And then pop the packings on as they came out so that the lip is facing up, and then pop your new female gland on so the flat side is facing up like that. Drop your ball in, pop it into my vice contraption, give it a good tight. That's that. So in there, we just want to replace that little washer.
I don't speak Spanish.
So what we're going to do now in the cylinder is get a little white one, flat side down, bevel up, drop that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop the plastic and rubbers back in, and it's going to go plastic, blue, black, blue, black, blue. So as you're dropping it in, they're going that way. And then the big plastic one with the lip at the bottom and the flat at the top. The flat goes at the top. So the jam nut, just going to pop the new rubber on, put the cap on, and then just fasten it up. Just finger tight. Then we're just going to thread it. Make sure you put it in the right way. So threads on the bottom, washers on the bottom, up. All I'm doing is just tapping that through. So now there we go, there's that. So now I've got my seat. So I'm going to pop that in there. A new big ball. And then that goes that way so that flat's on the top. I'll tighten that up once we've got it on the machine. So this, turn a half a turn. Don't want to go too tight or you'll knock the rubber washer out of its place. Two little O-rings in here. One, two. Don't be worried if you've got a few spare ones left over. They can vary for different pumps. Make sure that before you fasten everything up, you put the little retainer clip around the piston rod, push it up, and then start to fasten it. So just flipped it on its back just to screw it in, and I'm going to gauge it from roughly there and then just fasten the wing nut up. Connect this up. Once it's tightened, just give that an extra tighten, that, and then we should be good to go. So we're in now, connected this up, and then once you've married it up, pop the little bar through the rod to connect it, and then put the retaining clip on, and then connect it, tighten that up, and then I'm going to put my suction pipe back on, and then we're going to test it. So we'll see what it's like in a minute. Right, moment of truth. See if it works. Soapy water. Connected it up. Oh, that sounds smooth. Come on. Oh, yes. Winner. That sounds so much smoother now. So we're sorted now. It's like a dream. So quiet and so smooth, whereas before it sounded like hammer hitting steel. 10 times better. We'll see how we get on in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so far, so good. I will 90% say that you will be swearing, there will be blood, and there may be tears. Just keep your eye on what bits fall out and which bits go in which order. And you should be set. But give it a go. Any questions, just drop them down and I'll help you out. Obviously, if I'd have had the newer version, it's a quick change pump, and that's so much more beneficial. I mean, the next machine that I'm going to get is going to have something like that, because I can't be arsed doing that again.